This episode is brought to you by our friends over at Piedmontese Beef. Nsima, let's tell the people about how we've been getting a little bit leaner lately.
You know, it's really, really awesome because with Piedmontese, because there are a lot of their cuts of steak that don't have a crazy amount of fat. They do have some cuts with good amount of fat, right? If you're doing keto or whatever. But if you're trying to diet, they have a lot of great cuts of steaks that are pretty lean. So you can eat multiple steaks, right? And get really full, get a lot of protein, but not get a crazy amount of fat. So if you're actually trying to diet and get leaner, which has been happening to me, I've been getting leaner without really trying just because I've been intaking a crazy amount of fat. Because all I eat is Piedmontese.
Yeah, same here, dude. It's been awesome because, you know, I'll come home and, you know, like most people, I'll be like pretty, you know, not run down, but I'll be a little like not too much pep in my step from a long day.
You're a daddy now.
And then there's that. There is the, you know, the exhaustion of not sleeping. But, you know, I'll look forward to dinner, you know, and I want to, you know, enjoy it. And I have been really enjoying it. I've been having a lot of flat iron steaks, a lot of bavettes. And I look in the mirror and I'm like, all right, like what's going on here? Like, you know, I've noticed that there's been a change in my physique and it's like, wow, like, okay, like the scale's not like going through the roof or anything. I'm enjoying everything I'm doing and I'm looking better doing it. And it's just like, okay, like what's the secret? Like, okay, like maybe it is Piedmontese, you know, like that's the only thing
maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe it's Piedmontese. That's the one consistent thing that I've been doing for the past, I would say, probably like 2 months now. And just in that short amount of time, I've noticed a difference.
There we go.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Seriously, guys, you guys have to try this beef if you have not done so already. And you can do it for 25% off. Head over to Piedmontese.com. That's Piedmontese.com. At checkout, enter promo code Power Project for 25% off your order. And if your order is $99 or more, you get free 2-day shipping. Highly recommend it. Head over there right now.
Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Piedmontese.
What up, Power Project crew? This is Josh Settlage, aka Settlegate, here to introduce you to our next guest, Bret Azar. Bret Azar is an American stuntman and actor who has been featured in films such as Terminator Genisys and Central Intelligence, and is currently playing the Iron Sheik in NBC's Young Rock series. Bret Azar went to the University of Rhode Island, where he studied theater and film. His impressive 6'2", 265-pound physique helped land him the role as Arnold's motion capture stunt double in the film Terminator Genisys. Bret is also a competitive heavyweight bodybuilder and has competed at the Garden State NPC competition. Bret Azar is also ranked as the number 3 worst cook in America. But that is a different story for a different time. Please enjoy this conversation with our guest, Bret Azar.
Like, it has The Rock on there now, and he talks about his old days, right? And then
Yeah.
kind of does like flashback type stuff.
Makes you wonder because, like, in the show, I think the premise is that he's running for president at the time. And he's going through interviews and he's talking about his past, and then it pans to like what actually happened in his past. So it makes you wonder, is this dude actually going to think about running for president in like 4 to 8 years? Because he very well could win.
Yeah, subliminal. Whatever.
Subliminal, yeah. Get everybody watching Young Rock, get it to 15 seasons, and then he runs for president. It's the master plan.
Yeah. So we're rolling now. But yeah, just like how like Falcon and Winter Soldier made you want him to be Captain America. Seems like that show maybe makes people want The Rock to run for president.
You never know, man.
Yeah. How you guys doing today?
Good.
What?
Uh-oh.
You got to poop.
No, I will end up doing that on this podcast. There's just certain stories that you don't put on the podcast, you know. I talk about a lot of things on this podcast,
so then it must be really good.
There are certain things.
Put it out for the newsletter.
No.
Oh,
even worse, in letters. Whew. No way. In print.
A paper trail.
But yeah, how are you doing today, Mark?
Why you got to turn around on me? I'm doing good. I actually got some good sleep. Slept in. Wanted to get my running in this morning, but
pause. What is sleeping in for you?
Yeah, it wasn't very long. Probably about 6:30 or so.
Okay.
Yeah, I woke up around 6:15, 6:30. I don't set my alarm in the morning, so I just kind of wake up when I wake up. Probably woke up about a half an hour later than what I've been doing over the last few weeks. And I was like, I could still go run, but I didn't want to try to time crunch it and have it be all screwed up. Because I run a certain distance, and then I was like, I'd have to really be moving to kind of get through that in the right amount of time. And I'm like, I don't have it in me to do that today. So that's kind of the way I treat my running, though, is I just, there'll be a day where I just don't want to do it, and I just don't do it. And I'll get back to it tomorrow. I try to do it 5 or 6 days a week. So far, so good. But also, so what? Because I haven't been doing it for that long. It's just been a short period of time. So
how's your body feeling with the running?
Good. I feel really good. The only thing I'm feeling is every once in a while, I feel like my hips be like super tight. But staying on top of stretching has been helpful. So I need to continue to do that. I do need to actually stretch my hips more, though. So that'll be something I need to kind of work on a little bit more. But everything's feeling good. Feeling like a tank. We got Bret on here.
Yeah, we're connecting with him right now.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, he's got the delts out for the show.
Look at this guy.
How's it going today?
It's great.
Oh, look like you just got a pump.
It was feeling good until just now.
Yeah, right.
Look at that bicep.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised it didn't come on here with a stringer.
It's a stringer.
It's close enough, right? It's kind of a stringer.
Gold.
Yeah. It is a stringer. Yeah, there we go.
It's a Venice.
Hey.
You just get done with some training this morning?
Nope, I just woke up.
Oh, there you go. Wow. Just woke up with that pump. I like it.
Yeah.
How long have you been training for, and how'd you get into some bodybuilding?
In high school, I was an athlete, captain of the football team, captain of the baseball team. So I kind of started lifting then. But then when I got to college, I was trying to pursue theater and acting, but I was still a gym rat. And the guy who ran the gym at URI asked if I ever wanted to compete. And I was like, well, Arnold has been my hero ever since I was little. So I was like, you mean like Arnold, do the acting and the competing? Yeah, I'd love to. So I started competing when I was 18 and fell in love with competitions and fell in love with the extremes that you can put your body through. And then stuck with acting through college at the same time. So I was like this meathead actor. And then did well competitively, won a few contests in New York and New Jersey. Got to that point where I was going to go national level, and all of a sudden, this was 10 years ago. My girlfriend at the time, ex-girlfriend now, had an interview with a modeling agency in New York City, and I went with her. And the guy was like, "Who are you?" And I was in shape because I was competing. And I was like, "I'm just the boyfriend." He goes, "Sign this." And he signed me to the modeling agency.
Whoa.
That day.
I can see why it's your ex-girlfriend. She didn't want you getting all that attention, right?
Well, I told the agent, I was like, "Well, I'm not like a model. I don't want to model. I'm an actor. I love acting. It's always been my passion." And he goes, "Well, we got a small acting division." I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And the next day he said he booked me on a commercial for ESPN. I was like,
Whoa.
Okay. So we filmed it, and my girlfriend and I were driving back home to Rhode Island. He called me again. He's like, "You got another audition?" I was like, "Oh, I can't be doing this. I got a full-time." I was running my own business at the time, personal training. And he's like, "Well, what do you want to do with your life?" I was like, "Acting has been my passion." So he's like, "Time to put up or shut up," basically. So I closed my business. I sent all my clients away with other trainers and moved to New Jersey within 2 weeks to be closer to New York City. And girlfriend dumped me.
Oh.
And
well, I mean, good.
been pursuing a dream since then.
Has acting been challenging? Like once you started to, dive into acting, and then you started to, I would assume, like take like acting classes and stuff. Have you found it to be really challenging?
The classes and stuff aren't the challenge, because that's my passion. That's what I love to do. So memorizing monologues, learning scripts, that's all part of the passion. The hard part is the high risk, high reward part of it, where you're not working. full time anymore. So you're kind of in that like limbo of like, okay, when's my next job kind of deal. And that's where the worry and the anxiety comes from with the acting world. It's like, all right, I went from a full time job working all day from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. So now I'm kind of like a homeless, jobless actor, struggling.
Entrepreneur, we call it nowadays.
Yeah, bouncing at strip club to make grocery money. Yeah. But then, thankfully, I patience and persistence and a vision to pursue that passion. I booked the Terminator job back in 2015 for Terminator Genisys, and ever since then, it's been pretty good.
How long has that been something that you wanted to do? Like you said, it was your passion. So has this been a passion since you were a kid? Is there something that like really inspired you when you were a kid to start like getting towards this? Because I mean, you don't see a lot of athletes that like are like, ooh, I'm into theater too, right? So how long has that been for you?
Ever since I was little. If we're going all the way back, it's literally all because of Arnold.
Okay.
My childhood was kind of messed up to start with. If I'm going to get a little personal, my father murdered my little sister when I was younger. And so my family, my mother and my brother and I started from nothing, clean slate kind of deal. But I was raised by my mom and my grandma. My grandfather was a traveling salesman, so he was never around. So I didn't have a father figure, but he had an Arnold movie collection. So I was 5 years old watching True Lies, Commando, the whole bit. And I started impersonating Arnold from from elementary school. And I always told everyone like I wanted to be, that kind of person. I don't want to be the bad guy like my father. I want to be everything that Arnold is, the good guy, the body, the muscular body, the hero, the role model. And that just, fell into my life of, okay, I want to be an actor. I want to be a muscle guy. I want to be everything that Arnold was, but, in my own way.
We've had a lot of people say a lot of different things on this show, but we've never had anybody say anything quite like that before. So what do you mean by your father, if you don't mind talking about it a bit? What do you mean by your father murdered your sister?
Yeah, he was a bad dude, and nobody knew about it. He was behind everyone's back. He was a drug dealer. He had issues. So when we were living in Massachusetts, and I was the older son, and I had a younger brother, and he had a twin sister, Geneva. And my mom came home one day, and they were infants. But my mom came home one day, and Geneva was in the crib, covered in blood, and he said he was sitting there, and he said, "Well, she stopped crying," and turns out he threw her into a wall and cracked her skull open and killed her. He was just a fucked up human being.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
He's still alive. When we went to court, when my mom was in court for all this, his family raided our house and took everything we had. So we moved back with my grandparents with nothing and started from scratch. And so my mom is told her I'd do this or something. She's the strongest woman in the world. To go through that, I can't imagine what kind of pain that was. I mean, I got fucked up just thinking about losing my sister, but to lose a daughter like that, for her to raise us and for us to be successful human beings, she's everything.
How did your mom do that? Did she have some sort of conversation with you guys, or did you guys seek counseling, or was it just like, hey, I'm just going to go back to life?
They threw me in therapy right away, just to make sure that, because I witnessed it and I would act out certain things that happened because I was home alone with him. So they were like, we're going to make sure Bret doesn't grow up totally messed up. So they got me right into therapy, learning about ethics and morals and all that to make sure I wasn't thinking the wrong way. The whole time I'm watching Arnold movies, you know. So it's like, and even as a little kid, I was like, yeah, get to the chopper.
That was good.
And I remember that my kindergarten teacher called my mom like concerned because I would draw Arnold and Predator and like guns, and they were like, Brett's thinking about guns. I was like, but it's Arnold. But yeah, to fast forward, just to take that moment though, of Arnold literally being a father figure to me and being what I want to be when I grow up, to get the role to be Arnold meant so much more to me than anyone could ever imagine. Just getting a movie role like this was, it almost felt like a divine intervention. Like my sister was like, here, you know, you lived that life. You did it right. This is my gift to you, kind of thing. It was a full just manifestation of you know, everything I put out into the universe.
What do you think that you did differently than, I guess, a lot? Because there are a lot of individuals in the bodybuilding industry that are trying to get into acting, that are trying to get past fitness, right? So for you, maybe potentially it was that opportunity you got in New York that cascaded into other things. But what do you think you were doing differently than a lot of these other guys who just aren't getting any looks?
I think it's mindset. I think it's your focus and where you truly, you know, hold your goals. A lot of guys, you know, I want to be an actor, but it's not like everything to them. You know, they want to pursue bodybuilding and become a pro. I was 100%, I want to be an actor. I was doing bodybuilding on the side and I was doing well, but it wasn't my passion. And I just had that faith in myself that it's like that law of attraction. To me, I'm a big believer in that. The mind can really do wonders. I just believe that I didn't care how, I didn't know how, but I knew that one day that what I wanted to do was going to happen. And that's everything that I wanted to do. I was, even in high school, like when we were full-time athletes, my friends would all call me Hollywood. You know, it was always that, yeah, I'm going to be an athlete. I'm going to be fit. I'm going to be a gym rat, but I'm going to be an actor and I'm going to be a successful actor. And it's just a matter of faith and persistence and patience and consistency.
Yeah, in Los Angeles, I think everyone has a headshot, right? Everyone is kind of seeking out to be an actor. So how were you able to kind of break into the business? How were you able to, you know, break into some roles that now kind of has you maybe on the front of people's minds for future roles?
I don't know. I want to say luck, but, you know, luck is just one day of a lifetime of sacrifice, you know?
It sounds to me like you've been willing to move around and willing to do a lot of things to, you know, where maybe other folks maybe not so much all in.
You got to take the risk, you know. I went from a totally financially stable life living with my girlfriend to not knowing what, you know, I had to go bounce at strip clubs. I had to I still don't know when my next job is going to be, you know, but if it's what you truly love, then pursue it. Otherwise, I'd rather fail trying to achieve what I love than regret not trying at all. And I think that's where a lot of people shy away because they're too afraid of failure and they'll just, you know, not sacrifice and not take the risk and then regret it. And I could not let myself regret anything at this point. I'm too grateful for the life that I've been given, and the opportunities that I've been given, and so I'm gonna take chances and make the best of what I can.
I find it really interesting that, like, a lot of times in acting, they'll say someone's too big. You know, they'll say, oh, you know, you're 6'2", I think 260 or something like that, right? And so they'll say, you know, it's hard to get acting roles because you're going to make Tom Cruise or somebody look tiny and things like that. But I'm sure that you probably hear this all the time, but you have a unique look, and that's probably what people are looking for. So meanwhile, you hear, some of these people with these kind of negative commentary of like, oh, you'll never be able to be an actor because you're too big. And meanwhile, this is the thing that helps land you roles, it seems like.
Oh yeah. And yeah, my look is versatile. I mean, apparently I didn't realize how much I looked like Iron Sheik until I made the mustache and shaved the head. But it's for me, being the big guy, I always rooted for the other big guys to get more work and to see, that become a mainstream thing, where now everybody in the Marvel world is working out and all those guys are putting on muscle. You look at Hemsworth, he's got guns bigger than mine.
Kumail Nanjiani.
And so when I see guys like Batista, like The Rock being the most successful actor financially, like that's like he's bigger than me, man. He's got 3 inches on me and a couple inches on his arms and everything. So when I see guys getting that work and getting mainstream popularity, it's like, yes, let's keep going, guys. Like let's make this happen. Let's bring back the 80s era action hero and all that. I did face a lot of that at the start, being, oh, you're too big, you got to slim down. And I just stuck with being me. And I was like, it wouldn't make me happy to not work out, to not, push myself in the gym every day. If it's going to make me happy, then it's what I'm going to do, and fuck the rest. I'll make it work. And I'm glad I stuck with it, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be happy with myself. I think a lot of it is, if you're happy with yourself and you're focused on your goals, it'll find a way.
How did you get that 2015 role? Like, what was the process? How'd that all end up happening for you?
They reached out to my agent, and they did like a worldwide search for a guy, and they kept it super on the DL at first. They were like, hey, we just need measurements of your guys. So we sent in measurements, and it wasn't just like bicep, chest. It was like elbow to wrist and shoulder to elbow. And it was like every body part was measured. And so that was the first round, and they didn't say what it was for. Second round came out, and then there was a picture that looked like Arnold, like the silhouette. And I was like, all right, that looks like Schwarzenegger. And then they did another like measurement thing. And then the third round, they asked everyone to video themselves doing the rise, the T1 stand up and scan thing. And I was like, oh, this is fucking Terminator. I'm going to make this good. So I did shot for shot that opening scene, even with the 3 punks, and I had 3 mannequins lined up, and I did the rise, and I walked up to the mannequins, and I showed my feet. Like, I did it like every scene correct to the movie, just on like my phone. And then when I got up to the mannequins, nice night for the walk, looking clean, right? Your clothes given to me now. And I did the voice. Oh my God. And I think that's what won it over.
Dude.
They asked me later, they were like, can you do the voice when we're filming? I was like, yeah, get out here. It's fantastic. I'll do it anytime you want. Because they didn't know if they were going to dub in Arnold or just use my voice. So they wanted to make sure I had both capability.
That's awesome. What was it like, spending time with Arnold? I know some people that know him from training at Gold's myself, and seems like he's a pretty awesome guy. What was your experience like?
He's amazing. The first time we met, I was in wardrobe. We were in wardrobe, and I walk in, he goes, look at this guy. He's all pumped up. And I was like, well, what do you expect, man? Like, I got to be 1984 Arnold when he's in the off season, like 260 pounds. So I'm trying to force feed and get as big as I can. And then when we were filming, so that whole scene with Genisys where old Arnold fights young Arnold, I walk up to the 3 punks, nothing clean, right? Your clothes given to me now. Old Arnold shows up. You won't be needing those. And then I turn around, we have this locomotive fight, right? In Terminator 1, the original, Arnold kills those 3 punks and takes their clothes. In Terminator Genisys, I never get clothes. So I have this big fight with Arnold, and I'm naked. you would think that Hollywood would have something that would like harness you and they could CGI it. They gave me a sock and a drawstring. So my filming days were called sock and dots day because I'd wear a sock and they'd put dots all over my face for the CGI. But so I turn around and I run towards Arnold, and it's Arnold, shooting a shotgun, and I'm running towards him, pretending to get shot and just swinging away down there. And then we grapple up, and I'm throwing kicks and punches, and I stand over him, and I'm just in the breeze with a sock, with a pantyhose on. It's still anatomically correct, is what we'd say. So he and I got really close really quick. And now when he sees me out, he's always like, I don't recognize you. You're wearing too much clothing. So it's our thing where he knew me as the naked guy around set for a while.
Oh my God. It's fun. Like,
it was hilarious.
That's funny because they probably had a massive budget, but they just couldn't find something. That's mad weird.
I mean, they gave Jai Courtney, who was playing Kyle Reese. He had travel through time scene, and he fell out of the circle. But they gave him like this nice like triangle thong thing that kept them all, But I got a sock. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to train with Arnold at all? Work out with him?
Not on the project. Arnold later invited me out to California to work out with him and go to breakfast. And I mean, the guy's a stud. He really is. He does. When you're in his circle, when you start like working with him professionally, he takes you in like family. So he would have us over to his trailer, and he would start telling stories. And he at one time we were at his trailer, his entourage, and Joe Manganiello was visiting, and he walks outside and he goes, "A bunch of studs out here. It's like Stud Union. Let me get something for Stud Union." I was like, "Stud Union? That's badass." So I ran home and I made, on Custom Ink, I made Stud Union t-shirts and put everyone's last name on the back and had them ordered, and they flew in, and I gave them out on set to everybody who was there. But he goes back into his trailer. He's like, "Let me get something for Stud Union." He comes out with cigars. He passes them out. We all sit down. He starts telling stories about the 70s, about him and Franco visiting prisons, and how he would challenge anyone to a bench press competition. But he would tell the prisoners, you're strongest when your heart's going. So he made everyone sprint laps around the track before they could catch their breath, he would start the competition. And Franco, he would be like, you guys can leave whenever you want. You realize that, right? Talking to the prisoners. And they were all like, "What are you talking about?" And Franco would go and bend the bars and like stuff like that. You never hear about that. Just getting those stories straight from Arnold was just incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. What are some things that you maybe learned from him just in observing him and being around him and having him be your idol from the time you were a kid?
What haven't I learned? The best conversations I had with him weren't about training. It was about finances, actually. We would talk about, how he invested his money at an early age. As soon as he had money, he started investing in with real estate in California and credit. And it was the strangest conversation I thought I'd ever have with him. But he was just like, and it was really cool because it felt like a father-son talk. Like, he's like, "All right, sit down. Once you start making money, you got to do this with it. You got to do that with it." I was like, I never had that talk with, growing up with anybody. It was it was special. And then we'd throw in a couple weightlifting stuff, things that here and there. But, yeah, it was. There's nothing I haven't learned from Arnold. It's a whole wide variety of things. Just be professional and be respectful and crush anything you're doing.
Growing up, as you're idolizing Arnold, did you have the confidence to tell people that like that's who you want to be when you grow up, or did you kind of like shy away from actually like verbally telling people that you wanted to be like Arnold?
No, I was impersonating Arnold all the time. Like I would just, even in regular conversation, like pumping iron, we would just throw out quotes. Even that stupid YouTube Arnold's Pizza Shop thing. Like you love the pizza? Let's go get that pizza with 9mm bullets on it. Like I would just throw Arnold quotes into normal conversation through my entire life. So it wasn't anything hidden. It was, and I would always, I was the gym guy. I was the, I never hid the fact that I loved Arnold. And I wasn't ashamed of that.
So, I mean, moving forward, I don't know, like, how you ended up being able to play the Iron Sheik, but was that like, how did all that end up happening for you as you progressed there?
That was so random because it was, we were mid-COVID, everything's on lockdown. In the States, there was no acting whatsoever. And the gyms were shut down. My gym actually closed for good. So I went over there and I tried to buy all the equipment that they were liquidating. I put it in my driveway. So I would work out. I wasn't leaving the house at all. We were in New Jersey, so we were on like hardcore lockdown. We could go to the grocery store and that's it. So my girlfriend and I, my fiance now, Linda, we were at home and we were just, day to day was boredom and training. And I was like, babe, I've never shaved my head before in my life. I think now would be a good time to try it. We're not doing anything important. So I shave my head and I bick it. And we both look at it and I'm like, yeah, not a good look. And she was like, yeah, not a good look. Let's grow it back. 3 days later, I got the call to audition for Iron Sheik. And I was like, all right, there must be some kind of like workings up there for me to actually shave my head before I got this call to be, almost looking like Sheik already. And they did the first audition, and then I got the call back and they were like, can you do the voice? So I went on YouTube and I watched his promos and it was Kopu Krishna. Yes, Baba. It was, I was trying to makeshift the accent like as best I could off the top of my head. I'll put you in camel clutch. I'll break your back, make you humble. Yes, exactly. Jabroni. But so they saw that and they were like, okay, there's something to work with there. And then they called back again and they were like, but we're not like looking for promo Sheik. We're looking for like behind the scenes Sheik. So can you do his voice and like tone it down? So I watched his documentary where he was talking to his family and it was all, yes, I'm here on the Iron Sheik. Yes, Papa Sheik, come here, come over here, Papa. So it was that soft voice and they were like, yeah, all right, you got it. And I was like, okay. And we filmed in Australia. So because COVID was shut down all of America, they flew us all to Australia and we did a few months out there because they had COVID like down. They would fly you in and once you get there, the military or the police or whatever, whoever would take you from the airport, escort you into a bus, drive the bus to a hotel, walk you into your room and lock the door behind you. And you weren't allowed to leave for 2 weeks out of your room.
Damn.
And because it was NBC and The Rock, I got kind of spoiled where my room was a apartment and my living room was filled with a 300-pound weight set and an exercise bike.
Sick.
No way.
And the 3 meals a day that they provide you with the government turned into just order whatever you want from the grocery store and the cops will deliver it for you. So that's, my 2 weeks was nothing but training and eating. And I walked out of quarantine after 2 weeks, shredded. I dropped 10 pounds in 2 weeks. I had the ab veins going and everything.
Whoa.
And I walked out and all the other actors who were playing the wrestlers were just like, Sheik, what the fuck, man? And then so they all got on it in the gym with me. And it was being part of that cast was so special because we were all living together, which is totally unlike any acting job I've had. Usually it's like, when you rap, you go home to your separate ways. But when we rapped, we all went home together. And, we spent all our off time together on the roof doing barbecues. And every time I went to the gym, I would put in the group chat, Sheik to gym, and then the other guys would roll in. And it was special. It was like, you know, camaraderie beyond anything I've been a part of in an acting job.
Did you meet The Rock at all, or was there any of that involved in that?
So The Rock was still filming in Atlanta, and so our time with him was all through Zoom. He would do the script reads with us, and he would talk to us individually about what that character meant to him as a child and what he felt the portrayal should be. But I met The Rock. I met DJ earlier a few years ago. I was his stunt double when he did SNL.
Oh,
and we did like one of those like pre-filmed skits that SNL does. So we spent a day together. I remember we had a long lunch break, and I opened up my gym bag. I was going to go hit the gym on the lunch break. I opened up my gym bag. I got a brand new supplement, brand new pre-workout from Extend. And he loves Extend. He's got that banner in his gym. And he looks at it and he goes, he gave me the eyebrow. I was like, here, just take the damn thing. I know it. Go try it. So he took my pre-workout. That was a special moment.
Sick.
And when he was doing Central Intelligence up in Boston, I had a friend who was on the crew, and he was like, Bret, come by. So I walked in. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I walked in on set, and everyone thought that I was a certain Agent Wally. And they were like, oh, that's Agent Wally. And I was like, yeah, I'm Agent Wally. And then The Rock's stunt double, Tunaway, his cousin, thought I was one of the stunt doubles. So he was like, oh, you're the other stunt double. Come here. So I went and hung out with Tunaway, who introduced me to The Rock, who introduced me to Kevin Hart. And I was hanging out with those guys. And then somebody was finally like, who is this guy over here?
Where's your identification, sir?
Yeah. And then Tunaway was like, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's body double. You don't know Bret? And I was like, oh, yes, I'm in. This is it. And so I got to hang out for the day. They threw me into a scene just randomly. But I got to talk, working out with The Rock and working out with Kevin Hart, because at the time he was like super into fitness. He was doing his marathon runs or whatever it was. And yeah, it was a really cool moment. But yeah, for not supposed to being there and turning into a day where I was hanging out with DJ. There was one thing he did that made me put him to a whole new level of how much I loved him. We were filming our scene in the office where in Central Intelligence, he jumps out the window, like he's got Kevin Hart in the mailing bin.
Yeah.
And he jumps out the window. The director yells cut at one point, and he puts his hand up. And his assistant throws a protein shake. He catches it. He chugs the whole thing. He throws it back. Let's go. And I was just like, that's what I want my career to be. Like, if I can do that during a filming session, I've reached the top.
That's so sick.
That's my goal now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like Popeye, chugging down his spinach and getting right back to it, right?
For a meathead actor to witness that, I think I took it special versus everyone else seeing it happen, because I was just like, that's dedication. Like, the guy, he's going to get hangry if he doesn't have that shape.
Right.
So it's just like he just reached up his hand, caught it, chugged it, threw it back, action. I was like, fuck yeah, that was badass.
It's fucking awesome.
You mentioned, being on lockdown in Australia and having the access to the good food and to some gyms or to weights and stuff like that. How have you been able to stay in shape? Like, what are some things that you do personally with your nutrition, with some of your training that keeps you lean? Because it looks like you kind of look like this-ish all the time.
Yeah, that's the big thing about being in the acting world, is if you're not ready, then you don't get the job. So I stay lean year round. And to do that, diet-wise, it's pretty easy. I got the hookups with Icon Meals.
Nice.
So I get some good protein year round. But my trick is, I'll have my basic meal that I have 3 times a day is 8 to 10 ounces of some kind of protein. Usually it's steak, salmon, or chicken or turkey, with the microwave frozen vegetable mixed bags, 2 of those. So it's like 24 ounces of vegetable, and a little bit of light mayo, and a little bit of this shit. If you guys don't know about this shit,
And
put it on everything. White cheddar popcorn seasoning makes anything taste good.
white cheddar popcorn
But-
seasoning.
Oh yeah.
Have you tried some of the seasonings from Icon Meals? Those are really good too.
Oh yeah. Of course, I cook with those.
Tequila,
So I had
lime,
those
and all
for
that shit. The vodka, those are really good.
I liked even their, what did I put it on? Their the cinnamon.
Oh yeah, yeah, the cinnamon butter or whatever the hell it's called. That one's
Yeah.
really good too. Yeah.
That one I ran out of really quick.
Throw in protein shakes.
Yo, Bret, I really want to know this because, okay, earlier I asked, like, what are you doing differently? And like, obviously this is something that you've wanted to do for a long time. You're extremely passionate about it. That makes a huge difference. But I know because of who you are, there are probably a lot of individuals that are really wanting to get into acting that are like, yo, can I get something actionable? Like, I'm curious, like, what other than, you've been in it, what are some things that you did? Like, you literally, like, concrete things that you did that you think a lot of other people are literally just, if they had these things, if they did this while they were working with their agent, any like specifics that you think, make a difference for you in terms of your success?
You gotta show legitimacy to you wanting to be an actor. So you gotta get the professional headshots. You gotta take the classes and classes that will make a casting director and agent say, okay, these are like the creditable courses. These are the creditable teachers in New York City. It's costly, those classes are expensive, but when an agent sees that you've taken those classes with those creditable, schools, they take you a little more seriously. And for a lot of people, it's like, I don't want to spend that. Okay, now you're on the risk of someone saying he's not really serious about his career acting. It's not just going to fall in your lap, like for me, it kind of did, but I did everything behind the scenes for that moment for it to fall on my lap. I took theater all through high school, so I had that. Once I started taking classes, I took the classes that stood out on your resume. And even if it's something like, if you're active in a community theater, if you're active with something that's acting on the side and it shows that you're not just sitting around waiting for someone to notice you, that plays a big part in it. Even if it's creating your own content, it shows that you're proactive in your pursuit. It shows that you're more serious than just, I'm going to work out and look good and expect to be signed kind of thing. So yeah, it's really on you to be proactive with that.
That brings up a question actually I had. There are some people in like the YouTube space or like, TikTok or whatever that are working on their own projects and stuff. I don't know all of them or really any of them personally, but it seems like almost like they want to build a social media following and then kind of find like a backdoor into acting. Do you think that is, I guess there's multiple paths, but do you think that that's a legit path, or should it be like, no, you actually got to, get the headshots, you got to do the classes, you can't just rely on, your YouTube channel blowing up because that shit's pretty hard to do as well. So I don't know if you have any opinion or advice on something like that maybe somebody might be trying to kind of go that route as opposed to the route that you went.
I don't want to say it doesn't help. It absolutely helps to have the social following. A lot of, some gigs are looking for that to make sure that if they hire you, they can get an extra audience out of you. But I think the legitimacy factor is in the, the big name acting classes and acting schools. So even if it's, they can be fun too. You got Upright Citizens Brigade, which is a comedy improv school that all the SNL guys go through. I learned more from that than any other acting class. And it's one of those, it's legitimate. I mean, you have all those acting techniques, the Meisner technique, and I think it's all bullshit. But I would take the class and I would sit through it. And as much as I hated it, but if it was going to teach me just one little thing, if I got one little thing out of it, it'd be worth it. But yeah, the social media thing, it's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to put you at the top of the list by any means. You got to show legitimacy towards the acting.
Gotcha. A lot of people will also kind of say that you have to live in Los Angeles. Doesn't seem like you live in Los Angeles. What are some of your thoughts on that?
I chose the New York route. I moved to New Jersey to be close to New York. And now there's a big uprising in acting in Atlanta. There's a good one in Orlando. Chicago is a big hitter too. You can do it from anywhere, especially now with COVID, where everything is basically Zoom calls and video auditions. I haven't been into New York City, for an audition since March of last year, right before COVID hit. So everything I've been doing, I booked Young Rock on my phone. You know, you're getting the real work with video auditions. So you can do it from anywhere. You don't need to be in LA.
We were talking about diet.
If you get an audition at home and they call you to LA to meet you, you fucking go.
Right.
But you don't need to, live in LA to get the LA jobs.
We were talking a little bit about nutrition. You were talking about how you eat meat often. Have you found that to be effective to keep on muscle mass and to stay healthy? And, some people find that when they eat meat and just kind of stick to meat and vegetables and things like that, that they just feel healthier in general. Have you noticed big impact from things like that?
I've got a special relationship with red meat because when I was right before Terminator Genisys, in 2014, maybe 2013, I got hit hard with Crohn's disease. And I was anemic. I was bleeding out, every day. It was the worst pains I've ever had in my life. They wanted to put me on prednisone for months and months. And I told the doctor to, screw off and not taking that. And he's like, all right, then I'll see. I didn't want to take any medication for it. And the doctor, he was the specialist in Crohn's disease, said, okay, I'll see you in a month when we take out your colon. And I was like, I'll never see you again. And I went home, and for 2 weeks, I sat in my mom's basement. I was trying to pursue acting at the time too. So I thought my life was over. I thought I couldn't work out. I couldn't act. I couldn't go to auditions. I went home and cried in my basement at my mom's house for 2 weeks. And I drank amino acids and I ate cereal because that's the only thing that my body could digest. And then that was like a moment in my head where I was like, okay, I need to reevaluate shit because Crohn's disease is related to your stress level. It's genetic, but it's a stress trigger. And I'm a type A personality and I'm a perfectionist. So I realized, I was like, there's a lot of spilt milk that I'm putting too much weight on. So I let go of some shit. I reevaluated my thinking of how I approach things. And I'm more focused on just doing what makes me happy versus doing what other people want and what I think other people would want me to do. And that helped a lot. But once I started feeling better, they said, like, stay away from red meat if you have Crohn's disease. Turns out that was the only thing that didn't hurt me. I needed a higher protein, higher fat diet. So I stuck with red meat and just red meat and mush. Like I can't do raw vegetable, but I could do like just to the point where it's mush. And I didn't go to red meat first. I did egg whites, destroyed me. I was still bleeding out and terrible bones. And then I went to chicken. Still destroyed me. And it wasn't until I did steaks that I was like, I have good energy. I feel good. I ate nothing but red meat for about a year straight.
Whoa.
And that's when I got Terminator. and I was still kind of halfway healed filming that, but it was, everyone was watched me on set. They were like, if there was red meat, I had a pile of it. And they were like, oh, so that's the trick. And I was like, yep, just eat meat. And they were, aren't you worried about cholesterol? I was like, nope, I'm worried about dying and Crohn's disease. And I know that this doesn't fucking hurt me. So it was, I always eat red meat every day.
Was that anything you heard from an outside source, or is that something you investigated yourself or just stumbled upon it?
It was half and half. Cause I know about the carnivore diet and, but I don't know if that was back then. That wasn't as mainstream. It was, what did I research? There was something more related to, it wasn't paleo. It was a paleo, but it was just, it was just me figuring out, okay, what's going to hurt me and what's not going to hurt me. For a time, junk food was the only thing I could eat.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Because it was just so processed that my body didn't have to struggle to digest anything. And then my energy level sucked and I was anemic because I was losing so much blood. So the red meat and the iron in that actually boosted my energy. Like it was night and day. And for a while it was hamburger meat just because it was already ground a lot. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like super lean either. It was the high, like, I was eating the 73% or the 80% red meat and I was getting healthier. So now my diet, I have, fats are good. It's whole egg, it's salmon, it's steak, it's peanut butter and peanuts all day long. But it's not keto because I'll do vegetables and I'll have, the mixed bag. It's carrots, there's sugar. But then at night before bed, I have my anything goes snack or meal. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's any carb I want, any junk food I want, whatever I want right before bed. And then I pass out. That's what keeps me happy.
So, I mean, you've been able to work with Arnold, you've been able to work with The Rock. Like for you, what are some like potential dream either collaborations or if you ever thought of, I'd really like to play this in like a Marvel movie or some shit. Like what are...
Oh yeah, I mean, that's obviously on the list. Like,
yeah.
I guess the other big guys would be a big, like Batista. Mm-hmm. Jason Momoa would be a cool guy to work with. But as far as the role, everyone asks me like what my dream role would be. It's either the baddest bad guy or the best comic relief, best friend, buddy, sidekick thing. And, Batista gets a lot of those. Batista's role on Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm. That would be what I would want. Like, I love those character roles. And now, to think about it, I wanted to be the ultimate bad guy, and I wanted to be the comic relief. And the Sheik was actually both of those in real life because everyone fucking hated him. And in real life, he was a prankster. He was the funniest dude you would know at the party. So it was really special to get that combined into one character.
Why does Iron Sheik seem so angry? Or is that just like for fun? Is he just pissed off just because it's funny?
He's working the gimmick, man. He's working the gimmick. He's in real life, he's a super lovable, quiet dude. He's an introvert. So he's for everyone to know him as his gimmick, as the Sheik, as the rambunctious, eccentric guy. He's an actor. Like that's how I see it. He's a freaking great actor because he can make an entire nation hate him because of his acting. That's skill, that's talent. Respect the talent, brother.
Yeah, in a sense, he was like The Rock's like uncle, sort of, right?
Yeah, he was one of that crew where he was more of an uncle mentor to DJ.
For you nowadays,
Oh, I'm good.
I was curious, what does your training look like?
It's still old school Arnold style, as far as splits go. Well, not so much. Arnold does the supersetting, but I do, the basic chest day, back day, leg day, arm day, shoulder day. But set wise, rep wise, I pyramid a lot, but I don't count my sets. Like I might be on one exercise for an hour until I absolutely hate it. And I'll just wave load, either higher or lower. If one set felt light and I wanted to go heavier, then I'd go heavier. If I really want to drop down and get like a 3-rep heavy fucking set, I'd do that a couple times. But I'd stick with the same exercise for a lot of sets, 8 to 10 sets probably. And it's a lot of people can't work out that way because they get bored. But it's what I love. Like it's more like time under tension, just destroying your both on the eccentric and concentric. I just love to stretch the shit out of it and make it hurt, and then squeeze the hell out of it on the contraction. And I felt that works for me. Actually, when I was in California, I ran into Ulysses Panda, and he trains the same way. He does like 8 to 10 sets per exercise. So I worked out with him, and I was like, finally, someone else who understands this. Like it's not about 3 sets and you're done. It's if you're not satisfied, if you don't crush yourself, you're not going to grow at all. So there's no improvement without challenging yourself.
Do you ever like audible? Like if that particular exercise just sucks that day, doesn't feel great, you just move on to something else. Like fuck this.
All the time. It's more of I don't have a set exercise schedule. It's more of how I feel, and I go by the mind muscle connection. If it's not connecting right that day, then I'll move on to something else and destroy it on a different exercise. But I whenever I start a workout, I assess what I'm doing. I'll take wrist straps and hang from a pull-up bar. And if my back pops a certain amount of times, I know it's going to be a good day. But I'll hang there and I'll just stretch and I'll let the body tell me what's sore and what's not. And whatever's least sore is probably what I'm going to hit that day.
What are your some favorite types of body parts to hit? Do you do just one every single week? I know some guys, they just totally skip legs often. So how do you go about things?
Don't let friends skip leg day.
Fair.
I'll do legs twice a week.
Okay.
Because I like a day that's more secondary exercises and more just a squeeze and a burn. Mm-hmm. And then I like a day that's a heavy pressing, squatting kind of day. Primary exercises. That works best for me. So it's more like you crush it on one day with heavy squats and deadlifting and whatever else you want to do that day. And then the secondary is more like an active rest. I mean, you're still getting a burning workout, but it's not as heavy on the squats. Maybe you're just doing a leg press. You're not deadlifting. It's more of leg extension, leg curl, all those secondary things where you can really get a good stretch, but it's not going to debilitate you.
When you do get a gig, does the the studio or anybody, do they try to recommend a trainer for you, or do they just look at you and be like, he's gonna be fine?
That's I get the second.
Nice. That's awesome.
I haven't had anyone recommend a workout for me yet.
Yeah, and then do you have anybody right now in your ear saying like oh dude, don't get any bigger because right now you're the perfect size, or is it just kind of they'll just let you
I'm not trying to get bigger. Where I'm at is perfect. I'll let the roll decide if I need to get leaner or puffier. There's no option to lose muscle right now. It's just getting leaner or fatter. But the muscle is going to stay there.
You mentioned wanting to play a bad guy. Who's the baddest bad guy? What's your favorite, one of your favorite bad guy roles that you've seen over the years?
Well, I'm pissed at Tom Hardy because Tom Hardy gets all the roles that I want. He's got Venom. He's got Bane.
He's pretty
got
damn
broad-
good as Bane. Like that was fucking
That was a good
spectacular.
Bane.
But that's my role.
He needs to back off, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, come on. I mean, have a guy that's actually 6'2" with, you know. I'm mad at Tom Hardy.
Oh man.
And Venom's my favorite Marvel character of all time. So for that to happen, I was just like, nah.
What's one of your favorite monologues? I'm always impressed when I see that in acting, when somebody's able just to kind of, you know, go off for a certain amount of, you know, lines. It's impressive to watch. What's kind of like one of your all-time favorites?
Robert De Niro, when he's playing Al Capone in Untouchables. Untouchables.
Sounds right.
A man becomes preeminent. He's expected to have enthusiasms. What are mine? What are my admirations? What is that which brings me joy? Baseball. Yeah, baseball. There, a man stands alone at the plate. You follow him? You know, there, he stands alone. In the field, what is he? Part of a team. Looks, throws, bats, hustles. All part of one big team. Now, he may bat himself a livelong day. Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and so on. But in the field, what is he? Part of a team. Look, it's a nice day. The stands are full of fans. And what does he have to say? I'm going out there for myself. But I go nowhere without the team. And then he takes a baseball bat and he smashes the head in of a traitor.
Man, you can tell you love it. That's the crazy. Like, I mean, you're right. A lot of people do say that they want to get into acting or they have a look, but you've done a lot of studying. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You've done a lot of studying.
You got to do that. If you don't do that, then it's not, you don't earn it. You know, it's you got to earn the goal. It's not like you can just have this, I want to be this. You have to do everything to be proactive to get there. And then one day you have that one day of luck. And that one day of luck is only because of all the bullshit that you've dealt with the entire time getting there.
And that's that. The fact that you say that's a crazy thing, because I know quite a few people that want to do that, but they're all hoping to catch a break, because they when they like see other individuals who've become successful, they're like, oh yeah, someone saw them on the street or someone saw them in a Starbucks and boom, everything went from there. Like a lot of people really like, I think that's a big assumption in that industry, in the acting industry, that like that's why people want to be in LA, because they can get discovered, right? Whereas, you know, they're not putting in the work, but if someone can discover them, they'll be all good to go.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I mean, yes, you do need to catch the break. I certainly did catch the break. But I had this, you know, it's that whole iceberg theory. You only see the top of the iceberg, and underneath is a whole fucking thing that you put behind it. And it's if you don't have the legitimate, you know, all the legitimacy backing you up, it's not going to happen. I told you before, I'm big on the law of attraction, and you put that idea out there in the universe of what you want, and it'll happen for you. But it doesn't happen if you don't actually put the work in. You know, it's not something that you can have the dream, but you need to take the steps towards the dream in order for everything to click for you. And then that click is your moment of, I caught a break. But because I definitely did. Landing Terminator, I caught a break, but I was in the gym 3 hours every day. I took the acting classes. I did everything I fucking could for that break to happen. It didn't happen out of nowhere.
And you sound exactly like Arnold.
I dealt with my family totally disowning me because I went from financially stable life to homeless, jobless actor. And they were like, what the fuck did you just do? And I dealt with, why are you always in the gym? Where is that going to get you? You're not going to make it as a competitor. Like, you're not going to do that professionally. And And I was like, yeah, you're right. That's not my passion, but I love working out, and I know it's going to lead to me to success one way or another. And it was the whole Arnold thinking, like it's if you don't get your workout in, you're not going to have a good day. You know, it's just yeah, do your time for your lucky break.
I heard kind of more recently that Jack Nicholson, when he got on the set of A Few Good Men, he just like slaughtered everybody in a sense of like, I think everyone just kind of thought it was like first day. People are just kind of setting up in different positions and people are getting to learn the roles. But he just like sat down and just like blasted out one of his famous monologues that he did in that Guantanamo Bay scene. And it just was like, it gave notice to everybody else, like, oh shit, like everybody better step the fuck up. This is going to be a really, great movie if everyone, can kind of match his level. Have you seen anything, being on all these different sets from whether it be a writer, director, actor, where you're like, that's some next level shit. Like you did mention the rocket and the shaker cup thrown to him. Has there been anything else that you've seen where you've been like, man, that's another level. I need to bring my shit up. Like you got really inspired and excited by maybe something you saw on set.
Well, in terms of with Arnold, just the fact that he would do anything to get his workout in. there was so it's not really acting related.
No, I love that. That's great.
There was a bolo out for Arnold. Arnold went missing, and he was supposed to be in his room or something. And it took half a day, or it took a few hours, and they found him in the hotel gym. He ran away to the hotel gym to get his workout. I was like, that's the legend right there. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna go get my workout, and I don't care. He like escaped his security guard. Like he slipped security.
He just shook everybody.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So that was cool. I mean, I know DJ wakes up at 3 a.m. just to get his workout in on filming days. So that's as a meathead actor, that's inspiring. It's you do what you have to. In terms of acting, James Spader was a fucking badass. I did Blacklist with him, and he took he runs that show. He not only nails his part, but he knows everyone else's part. And that impressed me because he knew everyone's lines, and how he was how he had this whole image and he wanted it delivered. I caught him off guard though. So he walks up to me in the scene and I'm guarding a door and I'm not letting him by. And he comes up to me, he goes, "Is it true what they say about steroids shrinking your dick?" I was supposed to just stand there and mean eye him. And I go, "You want to check?" And he cracks up. And he's like, all right, we can't use that. That was good. But you can, all right, I'll give you that one. And from then on, I got to then we were kind of like buddy that day. And he was telling me stories and shit. But he was an impressive actor.
What are you doing now to continue to improve your game as far as being an actor? Because obviously you've done all these classes. I mean, you've gotten some great roles. I would assume that and this happens in every industry. Once people get to a certain point, they kind of maybe get comfortable and they're like, okay, I can finagle myself through this, right? But what are you continuing to do to keep on top of your game, to learn new things? What does your learning process as an actor look like now that you've done a bunch of stuff?
I watch a lot of television, and not for the enjoyment of the show, but for the writing and the acting. So I like whatever is up for the awards, for SAG Awards, like being in the union, you get all those screeners. So I study characters and the way they deliver certain lines, and I'll try to get the script. So I'll read the scene before I watch the show. So I have an idea of what I would do, and then I watch what they would do. I'm like, oh, that was fucking good. Like, I get that. So that's what I like to do. I'll try to get a script of a show or certain scenes, and I'll read it, and I'll play it out myself, and then I'll watch it and see how they delivered it and compare it. That's one thing that I do to stay proactive with it. And I enjoy that.
What drives you every day? What gets you out of bed?
Fear of failure. Just knowing that, again, it goes back to my sister. She sacrificed herself for us. You know, that's the way I see it. When I pray to her, and anything that good happens to me, that I know she's got a hand in it. And so knowing that the opportunity that I have to be here and not be not be dead, not be with a drug dealing scumbag father that would probably be, abusive, and I wouldn't have a good education. I wouldn't be anywhere near what I've achieved if I had been stuck in that kind of life. So taking every opportunity I can every day, feet on the ground and start kicking ass kind of thing. Waking up and saying thank you, first thing in the morning. That's what I must do.
Yeah, I'm thankful that we got a chance to talk to you, because I think in like a year from now, you're not going to have time for little people like us. You're going to be.
There's no such thing as little people.
You're going to be
everybody.
Yeah, I know.
There are no little people. But Young Rock just got signed for season 2.
Nice. Oh, that's fantastic! Congratulations.
So we're on for that.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. And go get jacked. Have an awesome day, and take care.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Catch you later.
Later, guys.
Wow. I love the stories of people, man. The making of superheroes.
Yeah.
And I think that guy's going to end up in like a superhero movie looking all jacked like that.
Yeah, no, he has a very, very handsome face. And then just jacked as hell.
Just the fact
he'll be in a Marvel movie at some point.
He can turn on a voice just like that. I'm
Dude,
like, what the fuck? Dude?
That Arnold shit was crazy. And the Iron Sheik, it's yeah. You could tell like he puts in a lot of fucking
student
work.
of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hit a full on monologue, right? Mid podcast.
Right? Damn.
Just because.
Yeah, very, very cool, and just interesting to hear Arnold's stories. I like Arnold running away and hitting the gym. That's great. He's like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell anybody where he's at.
Yeah.
That should have been the first place they looked, though. The gym, right?
You would assume.
It should have been like, check the surrounding gyms. That should have been like, where's their protein and where are their gyms? Let's investigate that.
Yeah.
That's probably where he's at.
Yeah. But what happened to him when he was younger, man,
Yeah, that was wild. I think what he said at the end made a lot of sense. Not that his sister had any sort of role in any of it, but kind of sacrificing herself. Like if that incident never happened, he may have lived with his dad for longer, and that could have potentially been worse for the entire family. And just I don't even understand when people say stuff like, I just don't even get it. I'm like, I don't understand how you fucking survived, or your mom survived, or I don't get any of it, because it just seems like it's just way too heavy, way too much to deal with,
Yeah. But he did.
Yeah, he did. I think people just figure out a way. And then his thing with Crohn's disease.
I was just gonna say,
that was really interesting.
Yeah, I wish we had asked like what year that was.
2014.
Is that what? Shit, my bad, I missed it.
It was right before he got the role in Terminator, so it could have been 13 or 14.
Wow, early.
Yeah, because he turned around and ate a bunch of meat, and then he ended up on Terminator, basically. Yeah,
that's incredible.
But it's funny. It's like, don't eat red meat when you have Crohn's. It's like that's the one thing he was able to eat, right? So.
Yeah, we've heard like Baker share stories about people doing the same thing. It's like, damn, it's nuts.
Oh, there is something different about just committing to eating meat, for sure. I don't think it's always necessary, though, for people. And it's probably not even, at this point, not even necessary for Bret. He's kind of moved into eating other foods. So I think it's always worthwhile to just do it. You just mess with it and try it out, but if you don't have any issues and you're feeling good and you're making good progress, it's probably unnecessary. It's like unnecessary torture.
Yeah.
In a way. I like what he said about his nutrition and about his training. It was all pretty simple. sounds like he's been a pretty big dude most of his life. Sounds like he's been in pretty good shape most of his life. So he was never really behind to where he's ever really probably had to do anything that crazy or drastic with his nutrition. He probably sounds like he got into like bodybuilding at a fairly young age and lifting and sports at a young age, and just was able to build on top of that and continue to get more jacked and leaner all the time.
Yeah, I love, when you ask what he eats, he's just like, well, 8 to 10 ounces of protein and 24 ounces of vegetables.
Yeah, and I think he said about 3 times a day, right?
Like, damn it, I want the secret though. Like, exactly how many? Like, but no, dude's a savage.
Yeah, is it fasted cardio that you're doing?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Tell us the secret.
Need the exact bro split.
Yeah, what fat burners are you taking?
When you do lateral raises, how high do you go?
Yeah,
that's the question, right? That people ask, right?
I will say though, that dude's energy it's pretty infectious, because like that, like you can tell it's not really manufactured. Like he's just a really vibrant individual, which is pretty damn awesome.
Kind of reminded me of Lance Keys.
Yeah,
like I kind of have like similar like head shape. When I see it, yeah, I don't know. It's the first thing that came to my head, my mind.
Oh man,
acting is a real bitch. I think it's really difficult. I've never had any training in acting, but I've done stuff where I've had to act before, and it's brutal. It's really tough. I did like a little bit of theater when I was like in high school and stuff like that. It's fun, but I'm also, I guess, inexperienced when it comes to that stuff. So I'm sort of shy with that because I think if I was familiar and had a better skill set, then I would probably be okay, but, I've always been fascinated by it. It's always been something that I wanted to, mess with, just take like a course or something just to learn more about it. Cause I'm like, even doing stuff promotional for like Slingshot, I'm like, I could sit here and talk about the product, but I don't really know what I'm doing. And I've been in front of a camera 9 zillion times, but, that is way different. There's so many different forms of communication through like a camera or through social media. I mean, you could film yourself in your car, which is way different and you can have an amazing message and you can sound incredibly smart. You could be a doctor or something and just nail all these points and sound wonderful. Or you could do something more high end in front of some cameras, in front of a couple of people, and that's a little bit more stress. And you got a whiteboard behind you and you're writing shit out. Or you could be on the goddamn like Today Show and you have to like, explain something on a high level about back health or something like that. Or we've had friends on there like Gunnar Peterson and stuff like that who have to kind of drill these set points. But, if Nsima is to do something like that, he's going to talk about nutrition and talk about lifting, going to talk about jujitsu. So it's like, okay, I'm scared as hell. This is crazy. There's a lot of lights here. I know there's millions of people watching, but the millions of people aren't in the building. There's only 10 people watching you, a couple of people instructing you on where to stand and when you're going to go live and all that. And so incredibly nerve-wracking. But now imagine if they say, all right, Nsima, you're from Texas, and Mark is from New York City, and you guys are getting together for a cup of coffee. I want you to you're not mad, but you're agitated about, and they start giving these. It's like,
small cues. Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that? But if you were just to be agitated, and you came in and you were a little frustrated, it would be easy for everybody to see that, and you don't have to act it out, but then you don't know how to draw upon that. I find that really fascinating. You got to figure out a way. How do you show, how do you convey that sometimes without words? I guess you can convey it with your eyes, your body language, even just the way you talk, being short with people or something. I don't know, but it all sounds really interesting to me.
And then on top of all that, if Nsima, if you don't get this shot correctly, there's Mark's time, there's the DP, there's grip, there's the director, there's studio time, there's studio money being lost every time you fuck up. Like this movie is now costing a lot more. So I don't know how oft or how much that plays into some of the the nerves and stuff. But
I'm sure people get fired all the time. They probably have.
Oh my gosh!
They probably only have a paragraph to spit out.
Yeah.
And they probably fuck it up and don't deliver it the way it needs to be delivered. And they're like, all right, we got to get somebody else in there.
Their one break that they finally got. and here it is, and they can't get it out.
Mom's spaghetti.
Oh my gosh, all over the sweater already.
Getting anyone going to the next line?
I think
that's as far as we get.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Because I don't know that. Yeah, I was gonna try, but then I was like, I don't got it.
Yeah, we
I
don't know
dropped
what's
the ball
going
right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Andrew, take us on out here.
I can't remember any. I try to remember.
We went backwards.
Yeah,
there's
we
vomit
did.
on my sweater already. Mom's spaghetti.
Something he forgets what he wrote down. Words won't come out. Time's up. Over. Blow.
Something like that.
Something like.
I think we skipped a couple lines.
Well, you just got to do like what kids do when they're like,
yeah, just make up.
Step back to reality. Shit, we can get in the industry.
Skip a couple more lines.
Okay, thank you everybody for checking out today's episode. Dude, you guys heard our guest talk about how kind of going carnivore helped his Crohn's disease. We preach the carnivore diet and just being meat based, and the absolute best way, in our opinion, is to hit up. Oh, sorry,
Save plants.
Save plants.
Save plants and eat
Have you
meat.
guys had the biltong Piedmontese stuff yet?
I have
biltong?
Yeah, it's like jerky basically.
I haven't had the biltong. I've had the beef sticks.
Yeah.
Biltong.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's
What?
like it's just like flat jerky, and then the
We
beef
gotta
sticks are sticks. Of
We got to
course.
have them send it to you guys. But biltong is a little bit different than jerky because it's like softer.
It's from South Africa or some shit.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's amazing because it's not like dried out as much. It's a little bit more moist.
It's like a sheet of steak, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically it's
okay.
a sheet of steak.
On
That
its
is true.
head.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, they asked if we could talk about it more on the podcast. I'm like, I don't think the other guys have had it yet. So
Yeah.
I was like, all I can do is talk about it, and then they get mad at me. Nsima's gonna
Nsima's like, the heck?
Put me in a European French lock. I don't know, I made that up.
European French lock.
But if you did make it up, you could name it. You know, like
Yeah,
if that was
yeah.
your thing.
Camel clutch. You can put me in a camel clutch.
There you go.
That sounds real sus, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, it's Iron Sheik.
Well,
so.
you could wear a sock. Here, wear my sock.
Yo, you think they have
but
a
that's
better
only-
budget, man?
But that's only an ankle sock, bro.
They probably do, but I don't know, maybe because the cameras have to get. I don't know.
I think everybody just was excited about, just
Probably.
seeing what they were seeing. They were like, let's go with this. Let's just tell him all we
Yeah.
got is a sock. He's in great shape. It's going to rally everybody up on the set. So let's do it this way.
It didn't sound like he got me too'd, so I think it's okay.
Yeah, he's all good. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Okay. So, what were we talking? Oh, meat, all that good stuff. Piedmontese.com, Piedmontese.com. At checkout, enter promo code Power Project for 25% off your order. And if your order is $99 or more, you get free 2-day shipping. Please follow the podcast at Mark Wells Power Project, at MB Power Project on TikTok and Twitter. And again, that newsletter down in the description and podcast show notes. Got some more fire coming your way. So please make sure you guys subscribe to that ASAP if you haven't done so already. My Instagram and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where you at?
If you listen on Apple, go review.
Yes.
Thank y'all. At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, and Nsima Inyang on Twitter. Mark?
At Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.